All right, ladies and gentlemen, the date is August 23rd, 2025. Our associate, friend, colleague was inquiring about a little bit of Ryu tips. I figured, since we're up and digesting a little bit, let's oblige. Let's just have a good time, freestyle it, see what happens. Oh, what happened? Training. So pretty much some general rules of thumb. Figure out what buttons do what. Let's just start with the concept. A concept that I've heard before. You know, people use like little sayings or like little colloquialisms, I suppose, right? To describe certain things, certain actions, certain mindsets, perhaps, right? And one way that I've heard, let's just call it my style at the risk of sounding egotistical, right? But one way that I've heard it described is with the phrase, keep yourself safe at all times. A very wise man said that. And let's try to put some, let's try to illustrate that a little bit. So let's just try to illustrate that a little bit. Everybody's got a walk speed, right? Ken's is a little bit faster than Ryu's. So that's something that you could use to your advantage. You calculate that. Everybody's got like a point of action, right? Or a point of, like a threshold, you know? So for some people, it's the closer you get, right? For others, it could be, maybe, yeah, for some people, it's the closer you get, you know? Like, pretend there's like a little meter, you know? It's kind of like a cat, where if you pet the cat too much or whatever, it gets all frazzled and it wants to jump or spring or do whatever. It's kind of the same thing, because you can't win the game, right, unless you inflict damage of some kind, right? That requires you to press something. That's a given. That's a must. So everybody kind of has that point where they feel that, hey, you know, this is a good spot. It makes sense in their mind to press something, you know. The closer you get, they may be more incentivized to maybe check you with a little jab like this or something, right? Maybe they'll readjust backwards, you know, micro adjust backwards even, right? If they know you're going to attack with the low, perhaps you could do something like this in anticipation, which is going to hop over the low. So it's just about understanding all the different ways that they can respond to exactly what it is that you are doing, right? Jump a fireball, parry a fireball, super through a fireball, right? In other games, you could just go straight through the fireball with like special moves or whatever, right? Like Street Fighter 4 has a focus attack, etc., right? There's all these different things that people can do, and it's character specific as well. So with that in mind, you yourself as the controller of your guy, right? You have to keep tabs on exactly what it is that you're doing, and the why, right? The logical responses to it, And then you see how much the other guy knows. How confident is he in executing counters, right? Hmm, how resilient is the man, right? Because he could know everything that we're talking about, right? He could know all those things already. Like, this is old news. He's been doing this for forever already, right? Like, how are you gonna throw somebody like that off? Well, the amazing thing is that there is a point where they can't react. So, for example, if they do a certain counter, right, they're locked down for a certain amount of time, and that's something you could put into the calculus, right, of how you're gonna respond to that. Everything has speed, right? This I don't know how long this is, but like, I'm locked out from jumping or doing any other action until the move is completed, as you can see, right? I have to wait for his punch to be finished before I can jump again after pressing the button, obviously, right? So factor those types of things in the way that you move, right? If you feel like, okay, well, this guy's a roundhouser. He likes to poke with roundhouse. You know, Ken has a decent roundhouse in Street Fighter 3. So if you know that that's coming, you anticipate that, right? You just picture it in your mind, okay, it's going to take this long to come out. It goes this distance, right? So you factor that in the way that you're kind of fishing, you know. His walk speed as well, Ken's walk speed, right? He has to come up to a certain distance if he's on the ground, you know. That's going to take time as well. You calculate all that stuff. And but the thing is if they know you're waiting for that, they can mix it up. They could move up, or maybe dash at an awkward range, you know, where perhaps you're not ready for the exact distance afterwards, and that could throw you off, cause you to hesitate, right? And then they could take advantage of that in a multitude of different ways. So the more things you have under your control, the better. And you're going to want to practice being in control most of the time, if not all the time. I mean, you want to be in control all the time. You want to have a perfect game all the time, right? Like, that's kind of ideal. But you got to know when to push and pull. You know, you yourself might make a micro error and have to readjust, but you can't make it obvious. You know, that's another thing you have to recognize. Like, did I walk back too far by mistake? Did I do a fake button and whiff, you know, in such a way that doesn't allow me to take full advantage of the calculation I was making before, you know? That's more prevalent in like Street Fighter 6, I would say, because Ryu's crouching medium punch got nerfed, right? It takes longer to recover, which is that's unfortunate, right? So even this move right here, like, that could be enough if they're jumping at you, right? And you happen to like fake this, or like go for like a check jab or something, right? Well, that's gonna change your uppercut timing. You know, you might be frozen on the way with your leg back, and he's already at the angle where you had wanted to do the Shoryuken at that point. You know, Shoryuken to super or whatever, right? Or you won't have time to stand up and jab him, you know, because you want to do stuff to throw off their parry in this game, right? So you have to take those types of little details into consideration, because otherwise you're just going to leave yourself open. And as we all know, tiny little openings could change the whole game, right? You could have been ahead of the guy the whole time, but because you like press something at a strange, awkward time, it throws your follow-up off, and now you're in his world, you know, his or her world, whatever. So be precise, be deliberate. The way you do that, right, just a little tidbit or whatever, I suppose, is just like shadow box. You know, just do this over and over. until it gets into your muscle memory, your brain, right? Like your mind-body connection. You know, you'll start to feel this. You'll start to what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like you're seeing the future, you know? Like when your brain sees this, it's automatically going to make a connection, like a timing. And the more you do it, the more familiar you get with it, the more you're serious about like logging these things in, the faster you're going to be able to recognize it, and the faster you're going to be able to deploy your strategy that you've practiced. You know, all the execution you practice, just get a feel for it, you know? Like, this throw's missing, right? So obviously, I have to wait like a half a second or whatever it is in order to get this throw off, right? So that's another little timing, you know? You got to be real sharp on those things. Like, oh, so then that way you could get the throw. That's another layer. When do they recover? Did it hit? Did it get blocked? Did it whiff? You know, how did it whiff? Was he whiffing something else at the same time, you know, that ate into his recovery? That's another thing. You know, you could have time to go for something small, and it all adds up. So another rule of thumb, perhaps, that would help is when you're going for pokes, make sure that it makes contact, right? That's going to help you be sharp, right? With your button presses, you know, you want to get good at like tipping them, you know, because from here to here, right? From here to here, here to here, here to here, you know, if you're real fast, right? You can just have this on the table, you know, locked and loaded. From there to there, there to there, there to there. That from the time it takes to get from here to here, right? Here to here, that could have been a hesitation that they were leaving on the table, you know, on their end, and you could take advantage of that. You know, another way I've heard it described, right? Another colloquialism is that it's like, imagine that you're playing soccer, right? That's another wonderful illustration tool. It's a little bit less prevalent. I mean, it still is on the table in Street Fighter 3, of course. But because of the parry system and, you know, you got super jumps and you could, like, fly out of the corner and things like that. Characters have, you know, options select parry moves and things of that nature, you know. It's a little bit more difficult to keep people in the corner generally in this game. But think of the arena, think of the stage or whatever, right? The map as a soccer field. In the beginning, you start off in the middle circle, and then as the match progresses, right, one or the other player, they slowly, in increments, get pushed towards the other side, right? This would be the goal. And that has influence on the way players react as well. Oh shoot, I'm getting closer to the corner. Boy, oh boy. They might feel more inclined to act in such a way to prevent that, you know, and you could take advantage of that as well. Some people like to dash in, right? If their dashes aren't perfect, you can kind of see that the other character moves forward first a little bit, right, before the dash comes out. And that's a reaction cue, you know, you could use that to your advantage. That disappears if somebody is using a hitbox, but you could still react to it if you're real, like, keen to it and have practiced that, you know, have it in your muscle memory, your mind-body connection and whatnot, right? I'm just saying, you know, that's an advantage that could be used. Some people hide it with like a jab, right? Or like they'll hide it within the recovery of their move, right? So that way you don't see the forward dash. That's another thing, you know. their meter, how much super they have, also influences the decisions people make, right? That's something to pay attention to. Could turtle up if they don't have super, or an EX, or something they could capitalize from a decent distance. That's a factor. You can use that to close in, threaten their threshold more, right? That's a thing. Ryu has a Kara throw, so you gotta use that to your advantage. That's a really good one, They whiff a little light jab like that. You're in, you're out, and then all of a sudden, boom, that's good. Knockdown. Some characters you could throw them, they'll do a little quick roll. You can dash forward and end up on the other side. That's a trick. Adjust your dash distance. Do a little left-right confusion. That's a good one. The timer is also a big influencer as well. Just enjoy trying to put all these things together. Don't worry about losing, right? Worry about, well, not even worry. Like, it's your game. Just do what's gonna benefit you, right? Win or lose, it doesn't really matter. If you're progressing and if that's your goal, it's just a game, right? Like, that could count as a victory. Hey, I got knocked out, whatever, but I learned something about this calculus, right? Which varies from player to player. So then I could say, oh, my brain's already storming. My experience is consolidating. My problem solving abilities, right, that I'm practicing at this moment are going to work for me. And that's a win, right? Throw off their jumping parry attempts, you could do some jabs, you could do some sequences, right? Yeah, you could do some sequences. Boom, 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 right? Boom, boom. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know, Like, that's a good one if you have super. And if they're onto it too, let's mix it up. Just go into that, and you can Shoryuken right away. That, delay Shoryuken, that. If they're high enough or whatever, maybe, I don't think you'll be able to dash under, perhaps. Maybe it's possible, it's worth a shot, Get your meaties down, so that way you could get some good combos. 6 hits, whatever. Practice the wake up timing for every character. Everybody gets up at a different rate for the most part in this game. Don't neglect that. Don't fail to give that attention, because that could change the tide of the battle. Crouching, they take more damage, so want to put that on the table. And from what I've seen, I don't know if it's true universally, but if you get this universal overhead or whatever low enough, like to the ground on contact, I don't think they could punish you even if they parry it. Might be a character specific thing, but that's something you could hunt out and try to figure out as well, right? Get your combos down. I know Ryu, he can do like a meaty knee right here, which is a high-low parry mix-up, right? Like, some people like to parry when they get up. If they do a low parry, right, they're gonna eat this knee. If you time it right. That might have been too late. Yeah. But if you practice this, you can get it to be a 6-hit combo. Doing it too late. Too late. Oh, that might have been it. Yeah, see? But that's something you have to practice. You have to get that down, like, really in your you gotta be an expert at it. Any little timing you're gonna be off, and he's gonna be able to punish you. And that's no good, So that's something to keep in mind. I'm pretty sure he could do this into like overhead into sweep perhaps. No, he could do overhead into super. That's for sure possible. Oop, did it too late though. But as you can see, right, like even myself, if I'm not staying practiced or whatever, you know, I'm gonna miss it too. But I do know it works. Yeah, this little one right here, you know, that's a good little combo. On Ken, you could do a down parry, crouch fierce, spin, and then blast them with an uppercut afterwards, which is a great little combo. Does a lot of stun, pretty sure. Is it crouch fierce? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Is it maybe there's a little caveat here. Don't remember what that is. Might be just doing it too late. But that is a thing. There it is. It's got all kinds of little like super resets, right? You get a good parry, jab, blast them. They have to parry that in the air, you know? Little tricks. Let's see what else. This goes over lows. This goes over lows. Has a pretty good hitbox, right? Don't forget about this target combo to throw them off. Throw a parry off or whatever. It's kind of slow, but it does a lot of stun. Bam. Yeah, those are like general little tips, I suppose, that you could use if you want to. Put those together, string those along, practice them, get real sharp at them, you know, just make it a point to even just sharpen one aspect at a time. You know, you don't have to win every game, just the wins will come. Just learn and get real sharp with your tools. Every single one of these is a tool. You know, this move right here, right? You can it has a long cancel, very long cancel window. You can mix up your Hadoukens, right? And then throw your Denjin. That's gonna change up their parry timing, right? That's great. That into that, or like a fast cancel or whatever. That's really good. You know, back throw, forward throw. Sometimes they don't get up fast, right? If they don't get up fast, you could dash up and get like a little spin mix up. Right? Get to the other side. Something like that, perhaps. Do one. And then a super jump, right? Just take note of everything. All you gotta do is take note of every single thing. And see how each move in your tool set could be adapted and applied there, right? This is pretty good too. If they're crouching, right? If they're crouching, you get a nice combo. You know, that could be a parry bait as well. And then you're +1 on block afterwards, which means, you know, free reign to go for like a parry, delay parry, throw, you know, readjust backwards, perhaps, you know, throw off the retaliation timing, hop over something, get some frame trap type deal going, like, oh. How do they react to that? Press nothing, okie dokie. Jump out of the way, alright. Counter poke, okay. Counter poke with something right away. You could, you know, get a backdash going, you know, make them whiff, hit them with that, or like that into that, you know. Hadoukens beat normal moves, as you know. Get real fast at doing your moves too. Like, try to do them as fast as you can, because that's just gonna be another advantage that you could use. Faster you get at doing stuff, the better. Not saying you have to do it like that every time. I'm just saying there's times where that does come in handy when you can do them as fast as possible, right? Like you should be able to do your moves without the character like squatting or telegraphing what they're gonna do. You know, it's another key because people are gonna be looking to react to everything. You know, you could just do this or that, and somebody might react. You know, if you're playing Street Fighter 3 side to side with somebody, you could use button noises. You could use their body language as a tell as well, you know, to what they're gonna do, which is a great key. That's all just more things you could use to your advantage. But yeah, those are just some general tips. You know, don't waste anything. Try not to zone out when you're playing. You know, try to set out with a purpose to perceive, right? And then just do it. You know, enjoy what you're doing. You know, just play it for what it is. Experience it for what it is. You'll surprise yourself. You'll get faster. You'll get more innovative. Your problem solving will increase. Like, and that increases the joy too, you know. For some people it does. For some people it does do that. So, welcome to the world of Street Fighter, man. Get your blocks down, you know. Get your block stun realization down, you know. What move did you block? Take advantage afterwards, you know. It's pretty sick. It's fun. Well, I think I'm pretty much digested at this point. I'm gonna go try to level up IRL, man. I'm gonna try to hit some weights real quick. Get the day going. I appreciate you, you know, sending your message. Come through the barcode wherever you're at. Just have a good time. Or whoever, you know, if anybody is curious, they'd like to ask me, I appreciate that. That's cool. Even Alex Valle himself, or somebody like Daigo or Mike Watson, or, you know, anybody that comes to mind or whatever. There was a time in their lives where they had to put their first quarter into the machine. They didn't know everything all at once. You know, nobody does. Everybody has to, it's gonna take something from everybody, you know, just like it does with anything. And like I said, it's your fight just as much as it is theirs. Just as much as it is mine. You know, oh, that's another thing too. Gotta try to get the hit confirms down. You don't get that into your timing, your muscle memory and whatnot, because you could turn this into some big damage, right? Just that. You know, you throw off a parry, uh-oh, boom. Now you're in their face. But yeah, I don't mind talking about Street Fighter. It's been a long time, right? Same things I told you, they apply to me as well. You know, I gotta practice too if I want to have these things down and ready to go. Cool, man. Until next time. Also, forgot to mention, right, like, well, I was talking about like startups and move speed and stuff like that. Some moves are so slow, you can anticipate them and jump over them and get a hit, you know? That's really good. Also, if something is difficult to execute for the other character, force them into that situation, right? Like make them have to do it and execute it. Don't just give it away because you know it's possible, right? Like you got to put them on the spot sometimes. And also, what was the last thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, like leverage your strengths. For example, right? Like Ryu hits real hard. Uh, Dude, get good at parrying, right? Just go for it and try. Because once you get pretty good at it, boy oh boy, you could get like a parry, heavy punch, heavy donkey, right? Big ol' stun or whatever. And now all of a sudden they're on the ropes. That's another way you could gauge how they respond in that situation to your advantage. But anyways, yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Startups and move speed and stuff like that. Some moves are so slow, you could anticipate them and jump over them and get a hit, you know? That's really good. Also, if something is difficult to execute for the other character, force them into that situation, right? Like make them have to do it and execute it. Don't just give it away because you know it's possible, right? Like you got to put them on the spot sometimes. And also, what was the last thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, like leverage your strengths. For example, right? Like Ryu hits real hard. Uh, Dude, get good at parrying, right? Just go for it and try. Because once you get pretty good at it, boy oh boy, you could get like a parry, heavy punch, heavy donkey, right? Big ol' stun or whatever. And now all of a sudden they're on the ropes. That's another way you could gauge how they respond in that situation to your advantage. But anyways, yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.